I got to be honest with all of you, all right? I feel there are 3 critical problems with the launch of the Switch 2. You ready? Okay. Problem number 1 with the Switch 2 is very simple. These game improvement upgrades should be free. If you already own Zelda Breath of the Wild on the regular Switch, you should be able to download it and play it on your Switch 2 with full upgrades for free. I mean, this has been available on both Xbox and Sony consoles, where there's a previous version of the game, and then there's a performance boost if you play it on the next-gen console, and it's free. There are remasters that have released, and that's a different situation. This is not Breath of the Wild remastered. This is just Breath of the Wild with a better frame rate and better resolution. It should be free. Nintendo shouldn't nickel and dime you for that. In fact, they don't have to. There's no need for them to do that. They were going to make those games run on the Switch 2 regardless. Now, what Nintendo is doing is trying to fool you. Oh, well, if you have the Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion pass, we'll just give it to you for free. That's not free. The expansion pass is incredibly limited. You get N64 games. You get, I think, some handheld games. You get the expansion for Animal Crossing, and you get the expansion for Mario Kart 8. That's the expansion pass. Most people don't need that. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get more people to do the ongoing expansion pass with really no value added. This is the new value added, but it's really not. It could easily be free. Nintendo doesn't need to nickel and dime you for this, but they're doing it on purpose because they think they can. They think that you're a sucker and you're going to pay more to play this game you already played with slightly better improvements on graphics. That's not fair. I think that's absolutely underhanded and ridiculous. Okay? Number 2. Nintendo is trying to act like it's not a big deal, but it is, that you have to get a brand new micro SD express card to store games. This console only comes with 256 gigabytes of storage. Probably around 20 to 50 of that will be the operating system and apps and things to make it run. That means you only have around 200 gigs of storage for your games. And as I showed you, a game like Street Fighter 6, which isn't even that big of a game, is already over 50 gigabytes. So can you imagine when you start getting really big games on there? I mean, Mario Kart World alone sounds like it's going to be huge. Now imagine a game like the new Mario or an open world RPG. Those things could be in excess of 100 gigs. Are you going to only have 2 games on your Switch at once? Of course not. You're going to want to expand. But these micro SD cards, these express ones, are brand new tech and are way overpriced. $200 for 1 terabyte? I mean, what's the sweet spot of pricing? $100 for 512 gigabytes? Do you understand how overpriced that is? It's insane. And there is no reason for Nintendo to be in this situation except that they absolutely demanded that the console be portable and a home console at once. This is where Nintendo shot themselves in the foot. With the Switch 1, it never was intending to do 4K, 60 frames. They knew that their console was underpowered, so they sold it that way. It's a portable, but it's also a home console, but it's not meant to compete. Now, with the Switch 2, Nintendo is actually trying to compete. 4K graphics, 60 frames per second, VRR enabled. That's all well and good. But the problem is, your storage is a portable little memory card. You didn't think this through. You didn't flush out the idea. Instead, you just did some kind of a Band-Aid solution. Oh, we'll just use the faster memory card. But it's too expensive. Nintendo's supposed to be the budget console, right? $450 for the Switch 2, $500 to bundle it with Mario Kart. But if you have to tack on $200 for a memory card, $100 plus for a controller and accessories, now you're spending $900. That's not a budget-friendly option anymore. Right now, you could buy a PS5, you could buy an Xbox, and you could toss a ton of accessories, even external storage on there for the same price or cheaper than what Nintendo seems to be offering with the Switch 2. So they screwed this up. They absolutely screwed it up with the pricing of this memory card. All right? And now, number 3, the third biggest mistake that Nintendo has just made with the Switch 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the Switch 2 has No innovation. Zero. All right? I want you to think about the history of Nintendo consoles up to now, okay? The NES, bringing arcade quality games home. The SNES, storage on cartridges and a much improved controller. Nintendo 64, better graphics and the first ever thumbstick. GameCube, a portable console with mini discs and many new control features. The Wii, motion controls for the masses. The Wii U, a touchpad screen built into your controller. And the Switch, the first ever hybrid home console and portable system ever. What is the innovation in Switch 2? Game chat? The C button? We already have it. It's called Discord. It's called Xbox Live Chat. We already have these features. They're just through third parties, but we already have them. All that Nintendo is doing is playing catch up with the rest of the industry. We need to get graphics on par with everyone else, finally. We need to actually have a communication system, finally. It took them till 2025 to figure out they actually need to catch up with the rest of their competition if they want to hang. They can continue to be this console that stands alone and sells like hotcakes, but has a bunch of shovelware and every once in a while has a big first-party title, or they can actually try to compete by having a console that will do similar resolution, similar frame rate, have communication, have the face cam, have it all. But to do that, they're kind of saying, we admit we don't have innovation anymore. There is no innovating factor whatsoever with the Switch 2. In fact, even the name isn't interesting. Switch 2? Has Nintendo ever done a 2 console before? You could argue Wii U was the sequel to the Wii, but it wasn't called Wii 2. This is the first time ever Nintendo actually is feeling not creative and uninspired. Oh, the controller can be a mouse. We already have mice. Oh, we have a webcam. We already have webcams. You're not adding any value to the console this time. So these are 3 big problems. Charging for the same games twice just to have them run slightly better is absolutely ridiculous and nickel and diming the customer. Requiring a almost proprietary, faster EX version of a memory card to have storage that's ridiculously expensive is ridiculous and anti-consumer. And the fact that they have given up on innovation is kind of sad. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the best way that I can actually compare Nintendo right now, like the most close comparison I can think about, is that Nintendo in the gaming business has essentially become the same as Apple in the tech business. Because Apple used to be the most innovative company. All of their gadgets and gizmos looked unique. They had unique stylized things, operating system that worked different from everyone else's, features that no one else had, and that's why you would buy the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad. But what happened with Apple was, after about 15 plus years dominating the tech industry, they lost their way. They stopped innovating. The things you can get in an Apple product today are exactly the same as what you can get in anyone else's product, but they're way more expensive and they have proprietary cables, gizmos, and things for it that are all way overpriced. That's exactly what is happening with Nintendo right now. They are not giving you any added value to the Switch 2 because it's not innovative anymore, but they're saying, hey, pay more for the same game. Hey, pay more for the storage and memory card. Will the industry carry it? Yes, because Nintendo has a following, a cult-like following of people who will follow them like the Pied Piper. Miyamoto pulls out his giant ocarina and starts playing, and everyone says, yes, Miyamoto-san, I must buy your amiibos. I must buy your overpriced controller that doesn't even work, like the Pro Controller, which was never actually fixed, and your drifting Joy-Cons. We must spend on Nintendo because we are part of the cult of Nintendo. People will line up in droves to buy the accessories and the games. They will pre-order the crap out of this console. This will be a sales dynamo in 2025. But we're not here to talk about sales success. We're here to talk about value. We're here to talk about games. We're here to talk about quality for the gamer and the consumer. From everything that I just saw, I saw some innovative stuff when it comes to the games. Mario Kart Tour looks really good. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks really good. And that's a good thing. I think what Nintendo really excels at is making great first-party games that innovate. That's what they need to focus on and continue to do. But for everything else, this just looks like a whole lot of noise and not a lot of substance. When we get this console on June 5th, what are we going to play? Mario Kart World. What are we going to play after that? Games we've already played. Until DK Bonanza comes out. And then what are we going to play after that? Nothing. Until maybe Metroid Prime 4 comes out. And then it's like, and what's going to happen, what it seems like, it's going to be just like the Switch. You're going to have times where there's going to be a bunch of games coming out, and they're going to be absolutely amazing. Whoa, we're eating good. We're eating aplenty. It's like a buffet of great Nintendo content. And then you're going to have entire 6 to 8 month spans with nothing. Just a couple third-party games, ports, and nothing else. Nintendo needs to get on the ball and stop being so up their own butts. They literally think they're better than everyone else and what their crap doesn't stink. That's not true anymore. If anything, they're proving it with the fact that they're showing they need to compete. We need 4K, we need 60 frames, we need the features everyone else has. Great. But now you actually have to be competitive as well with pricing and everything else. You can't expect us to drop $200 on a memory card at launch. You can't expect us to play one game and sit around for 4 months before your next comes out. That's an exclusive. You need to get on the ball. Will Nintendo do it? We'll find out, but man, those are 3 pretty critical flaws for the launch of a new console in 2025.